This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Kia ora, good evening. Welcome to the South today. I'm Daryl Baser. New Zealand is in the second week of Level 3 alert status in the fight to stop the spread of the coronavirus known as COVID-19. At this afternoon's media announcement, Director of Public Health Carolyn McInlay says 2 more people have succumbed to COVID-19, bringing the New Zealand's death toll to 21.
Today we are reporting 2 new confirmed cases of COVID-19. One of the new confirmed cases is linked to the St Margaret's Hospital and Rest Home in Auckland. This is a Waitemata District Health Board staff member who has been in a period of self-isolation but who has now tested positive for COVID-19 and is being cared for at North Shore Hospital. The nurse had been looking after St Margaret's Rest Home patients at Waitakere Hospital and was amongst those close contacts of another positive case announced last week. And I just want to reiterate that she has been in self-isolation since then.
And stay tuned to Channel 39 to see today's full announcement. The grass hasn't stopped growing at Dunedin's Forsyth Bar Stadium during lockdown. In fact, it's grown about 5 times its normal height. Turf manager Michael Watson says they were able to keep a close eye on it from remote control.
Irrigation by remote control was the only way Dunedin's Forsyth Bar Stadium turf manager Michael Watson could water the grass during the first 3 weeks of lockdown.
So we've got a good watering system where we're able to log into our work computer from home and actually log into the irrigation system through that.
The stadium's security cameras also helped monitor the results of the irrigation. Unlike as was done on some other stadiums and golf courses, Watson chose to avoid applying growth retardant before lockdown.
I didn't want to put too much sort of growth regulator out and really slow it down, because when we came back to work you just have to pump it up with lots of fertiliser to get it regrowing again.
Over 3 weeks, much of the grass grew to between 13 and 20 centimetres. That is about 5 times higher than what it is normally cut to. Watson and his team are now back to regularly maintaining the stadium's turf for future events. He says if they just let the grass die, the dead turf would need to be dug up again, followed with a 2 to 3 month wait for new grass to grow back.
So that's what we're just doing until we know what events will come in, whether that's in July, August, September, October, November. Whenever it will be, we'll have the turf ready for whatever that will come.
In Dunedin, the South today.
Last Wednesday, Matt Wilcox filmed a smoky object heading east over the Remarkables. Since then, there's been debate as to whether it's a plane, a meteor, or something else.
On Wednesday, 29th April 2020, Matt Wilcox in Queenstown filmed this smoky object heading east over the Remarkables. On first viewing, Southland Astronomical Society astronomer Mike Bailey suggested it could be a meteor, up to the size of a golf ball, burning up in the upper atmosphere.
So if we know that it's not a plane, if we know that it's not, say, a helicopter doing some boom spraying or something similar to that, then yeah, there is the chance that it could be a meteor coming into our atmosphere.
Avid cloud watcher and former weather forecaster Paul Gorman says at first glance it doesn't look like a normal jet contrail.
Normally a plane contrail is like 2, razor thin, clearly cleaved bits of, like pencil line very close to each other going across the horizon or across the sky.
However, it turns out there were 2 planes on repatriation flights from Australia to Chile overhead around that time. This is video footage of the earlier flight as it flew over Dunedin at 5:15 p.m. on Wednesday. So, does the Queenstown footage match a plane flight over New Zealand? The Flight Radar 24 website shows us flight paths up to a week ago for free. We see a Dreamliner cruising at 37,000 feet over the Remarkables and continuing eastwards over the Old Man Range at 5:45, exactly the same time as Matt Wilcox filmed his video. So, case closed? Well, not exactly. Why does a contrail in Matt Wilcox's video look so unusually dark?
It looked the wrong colour. The only way it could be that colour would be if it was a very high contrail and there was a layer of high cloud below it, which is possible, and then you might get a shadow on that cloud that you can see from underneath. But I don't think I've ever seen a contrail like that before.
And as for Mike Bailey, the astronomer who first suggested it could be a meteor, he's happy to concede it's a plane.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, and it just goes to show how light can trick in a situation like this.
In Queenstown, the South Today.
Some Southland hospitality businesses are raising concerns over the lack of consistency when it comes to Alert Level 3 guidelines. Invercargill's Batch Cafe has been operating during Level 3 under strict guidelines from the government. This includes contactless payments and managing orders through contact tracing. Co-owner Gareth Hamilton says he's frustrated with other businesses like fast food outlets and petrol stations who aren't trading under the same regulations. A McDonald's spokesman says their operating plans for drive-thrus have been developed in consultation with government agencies and have been reviewed by third-party guidance. North Dunedin hotspot, the Inch Bar, has been part of the city's nightlife for at least 20 years. The bar's current manager says they've weathered the COVID-19 lockdown and are set to come out swinging as soon as they're able. It's often said it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. Dunedin's Inch Bar is so named due to its quaint size, which, while charming, provides challenges to opening under Level 2 COVID-19 restrictions.
It's been a long few weeks, no income, so it's just been a matter of staying afloat. Looking after our staff has been a priority, so the income supplement's been really helpful.
Inch Bar manager Marama Smythe has a plan which she believes will mean they can trade as soon as the country's COVID-19 alert level drops to Level 2.
Well, for us, we've had to be a little bit creative in thinking about how we might be able to open during that time. We're tiny, and so we've come up with a book a bubble idea. So that would mean that a group of people who are already, close, would book a table and we would guarantee them that table for an hour or more if they wanted to, and then we could sort of manage that group rather than manage sort of single walking in customers. We're not closed to single people coming in, but it would just guarantee us groups of people.
The, some may say, legendary North Dunedin venue has hosted many musicians over the years, and Smythe says this can happen fully when all restrictions are off, but says patrons won't be starved of entertainment completely.
As far as booking events as such, we're just holding off on that. We did think that we could possibly have maybe solo artists come in and sort of sit right back at the back of the stage perhaps and play something, but as far as people coming to watch that, we're too small to handle numbers at this point, so it would be more sort of an ambient background type music if we were to have anything live at this stage.
The Inch Bar has been punching above its weight and spreading the love for more than 2 decades, and is now looking forward to safely welcoming bubble bookings. In Dunedin, the South Today. 8 international tourists were flown out of Queenstown yesterday after being stranded in New Zealand for the past 6 weeks.
So today we've been fortunate to have people that have been in Queenstown for the lockdown, tourists that have been stuck here. We've repatriated them back to their homeland. It's the first sector in their flight, and that's a connection from Queenstown to Christchurch.
What have you guys been doing during COVID-19? Have you been able to fly at all?
Unfortunately not. We've been in lockdown, so up until level 3 we were working from home like everyone, And from level 3, essential engineering services now can commence here. So we're getting our aircraft serviceable to fly again when we come to level 2.
And what's the future hold for you guys?
Well, it's going to be a challenge. No two ways about it. 95% of our business was scenic flights with international tourists. And so now with the borders being closed, we have to rethink our model. And of course there's a large push to the domestic market. That was just over 5% of our market beforehand. So that's not going to fill 5 aircraft that we'd had before. So there might be significant downsizing. We're definitely trying to move into some new markets like freight, with Air New Zealand and Jetstar no longer flying in and out of Queenstown. We're looking to supplement our passenger work with freight work as well.
And how important is it to get people in and out of Queenstown Airport?
It's huge. The airport is referred to as the beating heart of the town, and so without it now, transit to Christchurch, one of the main ports, is a at least 6 hour drive. Return trip is hard to do in one day. So there are business folk that need to move. There are people that have appointments. I've even been talking to Air New Zealand airline captains that have to drive to their job. They can't go into a job fatigue. So there are a lot of people that need to move, and we want to work with Air New Zealand on that and collaborate and be a study for them, that when we can fill our 12-seat aircraft, then they know there's the volume there to start bringing their 60-seat ATRs back to Queenstown.
When did you arrive in Queenstown?
At the beginning of February.
And when were you due to go back to New Caledonia?
Mid-March.
Mid-March. So how frustrating has it been to be stuck in lockdown here?
Well, it was not that frustrating. It was just like we love this country, so it was not a problem. But in that sort of uncertain times, it's much better to be back in our own country. And so it's really great to be able to fly with Air Milford. It's really fantastic.
The guidelines for the Level 2 COVID-19 lockdown have been released by the government. Businesses have been hit hard by the nationwide shutdown, with Dunedin looking like a ghost town under Level 4. And at Level 3, the pace of life is gradually accelerating. Enterprise Dunedin oversees the economic development of the city, and Director John Christie made time for a chat via Zoom today. So you've been across the effects of the COVID shutdown across the city. How did we cope?
Look, I think we've coped remarkably well, all things considered. It's obviously been a very difficult time for our local businesses, and they've been particularly hard hit, not only here but across the country. But I think as a community, we've really responded to the call from the government to stay within our bubbles, and as a result of that, we're now seeing increased opportunity for us to be able to get back and see those businesses reopening again.
It's shut down tourism completely across essentially the globe. The Prime Minister's announcements to Level 2, how's that looking for us after that?
Oh, look, it shut down a lot of businesses. We surveyed pretty early on in Level 4, sort of moving through to Level 3, and 83% of the businesses that we surveyed had seen a decrease in their business, and some were about neutral, but very few were up. So it has had a major effect on a number of our business sectors. Looking at Level 2, from what I can read from the government's announcement around that, it's certainly going to be a lot more permissive for businesses to reopen. We're going to see domestic travel back on the agenda. And I think that particularly bodes well for our tourism sector that has, as you've said, been particularly hard hit. Domestic tourism for Dunedin is really important, and whilst we still love the international traffic, for us a domestic market is a big one. And as an organisation, we've been looking at pulling together campaigns, working with our local community to make sure that we support and buy local where we can, but also encourage people domestically to get back into some of our local activities. We will be running regional and national campaigns to get people to look at Dunedin and the Lower South as a really viable place to come and visit. And of course, when we get Trans-Tasman back up and running, we're looking forward to getting some of those Aussies over here to restart and hopefully give a big boost to our tourism, hospitality and retail sectors in particular.
Under level 3, the bigger chains started doing click and collect. How do you think, what have you heard on the ground from local retailers, your mom and pop business, that sort of thing?
Oh, look, anything at all, whether it's government funding for wages and salaries or tax assistance, right through to allowing some sales, has all helped those businesses, even in some small ways. Obviously, it's not enough, and in some cases it won't be enough for those businesses to be able to sustain themselves. But I think level 3 at least gave that opportunity to some of our businesses that could do, click and collect or, contactless payment, home delivery kind of options, a chance to at least be getting some revenue through the door. And the cash flow's the king at the moment. That's what everyone's looking for, just getting that little bit of cash to keep themselves able to pay their wages and salaries and other bills that are coming in.
How are you guys at Enterprise Dunedin helping those affected by shutdown?
Look, at each of the levels, we've been really active, initially through things like helping students get repatriated back to their home countries, working alongside other organisations to ensure that the support that was available from the government was readily available and made known to our local business community. We've been working a lot on the plans for the recovery and what we do coming into level 2, level 1, and hopefully the new normal. So a lot of campaign work around marketing the city. We've been working alongside MSD, Chamber of Commerce and others to look at how we can get people that are losing their jobs and wanting employment back into the workforce as quickly as possible. We've been looking at how we can work regionally across some of our growth sector areas as well. So there are a lot of good prospects for us around, say, the film sector, tech sector. We've been, of course, awarded the Centre of Digital Excellence from the government, which sees us investing heavily into the gaming sector. It's computer gaming, not gambling. And of course, we're looking to roll that out with advanced speed to make sure that we can get some of that economic stimulus that we have into the market. And of course, we are working alongside our colleagues at the City Council for some of those infrastructure-led projects and ensuring that we, have put our hand up for projects that have got an economic benefit, such as the film studio that we looked at. Yeah, so it's been a busy time, really.
Indeed, yeah. Some people have been on gardening leave and their lawns look impressive, but it seems like you've been busy actually at the grindstone, but at home. The financial hit's been pretty hard across the board. How long do you think it'll take Dunedin to recover to, as you say, a new normal?
Yeah, that's a really difficult question to answer in general terms. I know it will differ by sector, and it will differ a lot by the type and size of business that we have within our community. We're pretty resilient. The business community here is pretty resilient, and we do have a lot of good growth opportunities. There's a lot of infrastructure build coming into the region and the city, starting, of course, with the demolition of the Cadbury site and making way for what will be the build of the new hospital. But there are also a number of other projects that will be still going ahead in the city. And so we see that as potentially good for us. We've got a really diversified economy in Dunedin, and we can be grateful for that. That diversity will see new opportunities arise, and we will see some of our businesses not be able to sustain themselves, and they will close their doors. That's inevitable for some of them, and we just hope that that will be as little disruption as possible, and that those people will have opportunities for gaining employment and new opportunities elsewhere in our economy.
What do you think is the best way that Dunedin citizens can help the local economy?
First and foremost is support your local business community where you can. Don't go and buy online from overseas. Buy it from your local retailers, your local suppliers that are there and wanting that business. As I said earlier, cash flow is really important to those businesses at the moment, and anything you can do to be supporting your local community is going to go a long way to ensuring that those businesses do stay viable. We're doing our best to go and look at how we can get people to come and visit our city and spend more here. It's not just the economic impact of that. I think the social well-being and the the need for our community to be able to get back and socialise is also really important for people's mental wellbeing. So we'll be looking at a range of things that we can do to encourage more events, more activity in the city, and hopefully an ability to bring people from throughout the region and throughout the country to visit here.
So when people are booking travel, either to go out of Dunedin and come back, or to come to Dunedin, how would you advise they book that? Online, through someone local, or?
Yeah, look, I think the most direct way, going straight to the business, puts more money into that business's pocket rather than allowing another agency to clip the ticket on the way through. So I'd certainly encourage local residents to be booking directly. There's some great local websites that will give you access to those phone numbers and websites of those businesses. And I think, anything that can put more money back into our local businesses is good for our community and will help them to get up and running as quickly as possible.
Brilliant. Enterprise Dunedin Director John Christie, thanks for your time.
Thanks very much.
Time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the situation, expect a mild weekend as northwesterly airflow dominates, bringing low cloud and some rain to the west and high cloud to the central and eastern parts. In the southern towns, moderate northwesterlies and cloud are increasing. The Catlins heads for 16, while Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore should all reach 17 degrees. Heading to the Central Lakes, it's due to be warmer here as well, with light winds and mostly clear skies. Wanaka and Queenstown head for 18, and it should be 19 in Alexandra, while Te Anau, you should reach 15 degrees. In the northern towns, light northeasterlies and high cloud are the order of the day here. Timaru and Te Wamaru should reach 18 degrees, with Twizel and Omarama in line for 19 degrees. In Dunedin tonight, expect mostly cloudy skies, with northerly winds and an overnight low of 6 degrees. There'll be early low cloud, which clears to fine and sunny skies tomorrow, with milder temperatures and moderate northeast winds. Expect a high of 16 and a low of 9. The weather is due to be similar on Sunday, mild temperatures and northeasterly winds, a high of 17 and a low of 10 degrees. And heading to Invercargill, it'll be fine and cold tonight with a nippy overnight low of 3 degrees. It'll be sunny at first tomorrow, but a cloud increases later on. You should have a high of 17 and a low of 9 degrees. It'll be cloudy on Sunday with a few showers developing, fresh northwesterly winds. Expect a high of 16 and a low of 11. And that's all from the South Today team for this Friday, and in fact for the week. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Stay tuned to Channel 39 for the latest COVID-19 updates from the government. Have a great weekend. Remember, it's best to stick to your bubble for now. Ka kite anō. See you Monday.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.